Most people believe Canada is a problem-free country, that they don't share the same racial/cultural problems as the rest of the world, that they are the home of the glorious and the free. But that couldn't be more wrong. Developed in the early 1880s, residential schools shine a dark past what seems to be a glorious Canadian history. Residential schools were developed to help convert Aboriginal children into Canadian society, or in the words of the Canadian government, take the Indian out of the Indian. Children were malnourished, as the so-called teachers of these schools believed food and water were a privilege, and that right could be taken away if they believed it was necessary. Children were often beaten and abused both sexually and physically, as rules were set way too high for these poor children. For example, if they were caught speaking their native tongue, a beating would be considered a light punishment. If they were caught writing a letter to their families not in English or French, an additional 4 hours of work would be added. As residential schools were considered half-day programs, the students would wake up early to go to school for 3 hours, then spend the remaining of the time working labor for the parish that sponsored the school that the Canadian government didn't want to pay. So they felt free labor would be a reasonable reimbursement. An interesting fact about residential schools were that Canadian soldiers fighting in World War II had a 1 in 26 chance of survival. Aboriginal youth in residential schools had a 1 in 25th chance of survival.
I noticed that one time of the year everybody would be gone. And I knew they went to school, but I didn't know what school was. And I used to want to go with them. And then when I turned 6 years old, it was my turn. So my mom got us all brand new clothes and everything. When I got to residential school, it was this great big building. And my brothers were separated from me. And my older sister was taken to the big girl side because she was 8 years older than me. So she was considered a big girl and I was a little girl. And that was my first experience of being alone. They gave you clothes with numbers. You were now a number. And the number I remember is 33. Every time they called 33, that was me. I had to go forward. When I went to residential school, I seen a lot of children who didn't know one word of English. So I seen them get beat a lot. For me, when I came out of residential school, I was prejudiced against myself. I did not like being an Indian. I wish I would have had my culture as a kid. I really do. Because I wouldn't have had to live with this shame. It's awful to be ashamed of who you are. I think if all our people knew the beauty of our culture, they would feel so proud. And I know I don't even know all of it yet, but the glimpse I do see is awesome.